Hello and welcome to a series that I've decided to start doing regarding the music found in video games. Now I decided to start off by doing a game that I've been playing a lot of at the minute, which is Destiny the Taken King. Now a lot of you might know about Destiny, you might not. So I'll just go through a quick premise of everything. Basically you are a guardian that's been brought back to life, and you now have to go and basically save the universe and the world and the solar system from all the different forms of alien races that are basically trying to murder your ass. So, as the game goes on, you start to hear quite a big varying different views on music throughout different races and stuff like that as well. Now, the original soundtrack was written by Michael Salvatore, C. Paul Johnson, Martin O'Donnell, the absolute legend that he is, and also Paul McCartney. Now, as we're going to hear in a minute, we're going to be going to basically the overall loading screen at the beginning of the entire game. But the song that you hear at the moment is Path to Oryx, and I'm going to go into a bit more about that later on as well. Now with the loading screen and everything like this, obviously, you know, it's your main hub of where you're going to go, stuff like that. And you're also in space, so you want to get that sense of mystery as well. That sense of trying to find the next destination that you're going, the next mission that you're going to be going on. So with obviously how they've thought about it with this as well, is you've got that sort of tranquil, peaceful bit at the moment before you go into the storm as it was, and stuff like that. So with the situation that you're in at the moment, with the Taken King, Oryx is coming to invade, and he's basically trying to hunt you down. At the moment, we'll just show you a couple of different things about what you can do with the music by going down to Old Russia in the Cosmodrome. Now, they've done a clever thing here as well with the loading screen, and the fact that the loading screen you see obviously hasn't got the loading bar and your stereotypical stuff like that. You've got your ship going down, touching into orbit on the planet, obviously going along the atmosphere and stuff like that before it actually goes down into the environment, down into Old Russia as it was, well, as it is. The song that they chose for it's called Passage, which fits quite well, especially with the sound, with the mystery and stuff like that. Now I'm going to sidetrack a minute as well and just talk about the fact that
we need to be cautious.
The amount of effort that they put into sound effects throughout the entire game as well, and the actual music of the option that I'm going to show right now, which is the fact that you can actually turn the background music in the game off. No music, which gives that sense of more realism in the way that, you know, it's like you're actually there. You know, there'll be no music or anything like that. All you'd hear, obviously, is the environment around you, and bullets, and heads exploding, apparently. So I'll just turn the music back on now. Always overshoot it, I'm like. And I'm just going to go through the different types of guns that you've got. So at the minute I'm using a Suros PDX, and Suros guns have the same sort of sound to them, like that. Just going to switch weapons now to, let's have a look. Let's go for No One's Mercy. Now, the interesting thing about this is the fact that with this Iron Banner weapon, is the fact that it has the same sort of sound as the PDX, which makes you think that, you know, the Iron London might have forged it, but maybe they used a Suros as a prototype and stuff like that. So now I'll go to the Exotic Red Death, which, being an exotic's got its own unique sound to it, with it being the design and everything that it is. And my personal favourite pulse rifle at the minute, the Lord Mia, which is different with it having a 4-burst. And all hacker weapons seem to have that same sort of sound to the bullets. Let's go on to my favourite class of weapons, the auto rifles, with the newest thing that I literally bought, the Righteous 7 from New Monarchy. So again, you've got that sort of Suros sound to it, but a bit different. But the Suros regime, obviously being exotic's got a completely, obviously different sound again to it. So it's really interesting how, you know, like, they've made it so then not all the guns sound exactly the same. They've got their own sort of personality to him. And here we go, going to my new baby. That is my favourite gun at the moment, the Red Spectre, which was an absolute nightmare, and is an absolute nightmare to control. Nightmare to get, nightmare to control. So, back to the music. When you touch down into the tower, you get this sort of sense of, with the music, that it's mystery. You've got this mysterious place that that when you first start the game, that you've never been to before. The sense of excitement and mystery that just surrounds the entire area. But then you've got that safe feeling as well, that sense of home, as it were, when you're here. Camaraderie with all the other Guardians. Just at peace, with the fact that you can even see your own ship touching down if you're quick enough to turn around. And then obviously the tower itself watching over the traveller who's crippled on the planet at the moment in time, which it might not be always like that. So now I'm going to use a couple of examples which are my favourite songs, as it were, within Destiny itself. Now, I'm not going to go into all specific things like, every environment has its own sort of theme where you go, Mars, Venus, all of that. It's the same with the actual races as well. The Fallen have their own sort of theme, the Vex, as we're seeing now, you'll hear them have their own theme, the Taken do, all stuff like that. But the actual theme for this final climactic end to the original story is that obviously you've been trying to hunt down, trying to save the Traveller, trying to find a way to bring him back to restoring him to his full proper self. And it all culminates to this battle in the Black Garden, which is only myths and legends that you've heard of before. So you're going into this fight, and it starts off with this song that's playing now when you're fighting the first of the bosses, which is the main Vex theme, just a bit done up. Obviously, you want to get that feeling of, it's a big boss fight, you want to amplify that feeling of what you're getting. And obviously as you go on to the second boss, the actual music changes to the song Excerpt 2 from the Rose, which you get that feeling of, it's starting to build up, it's getting more frantic, you realise how much of a big thing this is that you're doing. You get that sense of, you need to accomplish this, you know what's at stake, the universe is at stake, you're gonna let everyone down if, you fail, so you can't let that happen, you have to beat them. And as the songs go on throughout this fight, you can feel that as it's going along, especially after you've beat the Imminent Mind and you go into the Soul Progeny himself, that when it gets to Excerpt from the Union, which to be fair, out of the entire soundtrack, is the most epic of them all, apart from obviously the most famous ones, like when the original start music, which was Guardian, and then the actual end fight, well not end fight, but like the end credits cutscene, which has the song All Ends Are Beginnings, which those two songs, if you look on my channel and look at the Destiny Bungie competition video that I did, I took a couple of the songs from the games and put my own twist on them, with me being a guitarist and everything like that. I'm going to go all ham. That's the Primeval Mind. Oh yeah, go all hammering with Sunbreaker. But obviously with this being the big deal that it is at the time, you want it to be this big, massive thing of the scope of what you've accomplished as well. Now, obviously you've had the Dark Blood and the House of Lords as well, they had great soundtracks as well. All of them, along with the Taken King, the new expansion that's come out, were scored by Michael Salvatore, C. Paul Johnson and Sky Lewin. Now, the one we're going to go into now is when you actually fight Oryx at the end of the main story for the Taken King. Now, with the Taken King, they replaced the startup music from Guardian to the song Path to Oryx, which I think is a really, really nice intro song. Reminds me a lot with the piano and everything of the Resident Evil safe rooms that you had. That sort of dark, moody sort of feeling towards it. Now, I'm just going to shut up for a minute, just the epicness of this song. Oryx has come all this way to fight you. He's literally come to hunt you down for killing his son, which happened in the Dark Below DLC. You killed Crota. Crota, in his dying breaths, let out a cry for help for his father to come and help him. He's pissed. He is totally putting it plain, like he's fucking fuming the fact that you killed his kid. So he wants to beat the ever-loving shit out of you, basically. And the song does a complete and utterly amazing job at it, with the fact that as the fight progresses, you can hear the music getting more frantic and the rage building behind the song, and you can hear it building up all the way through it, up until the point that you get to the final phase of the fight, where you'll see later on that there are 3 distinct parts to the fight when you're fighting Oryx himself, compared to some other boss fights and stuff like that. It's quite akin to the final boss against when you're in the Black Garden, when you got to fight the 3 giant minotaurs. And the fact that there's 3 phases for the music. So that was the first phase that we've just gone through, and now we're getting to the second phase where it'll actually change his moveset up a bit as well. And the music obviously goes along a bit with that, with the fact that you can hear it moving along with the fight. Oryx is getting more and more desperate at the fact that you're beating him, which isn't supposed to happen. You're in his domain, you're in his throne world, where the lore of it is the fact that the only place that a hive god like Oryx or Crota can only be killed in their throne world. However, Oryx at the moment isn't particularly, in a way, he's not particularly in his throne world, so he's not at his full power. He's in his earthly form, basically, his reality form at the moment. Unlike the raid where you fight him in his true throne world form, like what you do with Crota in the raid. But obviously this is what I was talking about with the final phase of the fight, where you're in the darkness dimension. He's literally transported you to the other dimension where he takes the Taken. Well, he takes the racers before he turns them into the Taken. So you get that sense with the music as well. You can hear how epic, in a way, that it is, with the fact that, this is the big deal. I mean, come on, he comes at you with a giant freaking sword and tries to cleave you in half. The guy's obviously pissed off. The guy's annoyed. He just wants to kill you. He just wants it to be out of the way so he can just carry on doing what he's doing and just take over the entire universe, basically. And the music shows that, the fact that, I know I'm saying a lot, figures, that with the fact that there's so much at stake in this fight, for you and for Oryx from both sides. If you end up looking into the lore of fighting within the Hive, and the origin of Oryx and all the Hive itself, it's a tragic backstory, and the music sort of fits with that. In fact, the music gets more desperate, and it fits in with Oryx's story. With what Oryx has been through, what the Hive have been through overall, he's not had an easy life or anything like that. It never has been. It's never been easy for Crota. It's never been easy for Oryx. It's never been easy for Oryx's sisters, which we've not even seen. And the whole music encapsulates that with, obviously, as I've been saying, the franticness, the epicness. You're basically fighting what the Hive see as a true god. This is, what you see. You see the Hive as a god. That's what they see. So, you've beaten Oryx, you get to this point, and the music completely, again, changes to the fact that, you get the bass coming in, you get, the orchestra's been used all the way through this. The use of the orchestra is amazing with what they've done throughout the entire soundtrack throughout, from when the game started to now. And you get this tranquil moment in a minute after Oryx takes himself, where you just hear it just go so tranquil. And that's all the music that, it encapsulates the entire game, the mystery, the happiness. Well, thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and if you want to see anything else, comment, like, subscribe, and tell me what game you want to do next. Until then, keep the music playing.